Hello, my name is Reeta and I'm a Senior Consultant for ADG. In this short video I'm going to show you how you can use R4i Writer to preview both figures and data modules, and then we're going to have a look at this on two different sides. The first one we're going to look at is inside the repository browser. So I'm just going to undock my repository browser so that we can see that in a little bit more detail. So inside here, what we can do is we can identify a graphic that we're wanting to preview. So we can select our graphic, and then what we can do is we can click on Enable Quick View. And what it will do is it will then display the graphic that you have selected so that you can see if that's the appropriate graphic for what you're wanting to insert inside your data module. And you can continue to navigate around selecting the different graphics until you find the one that you're requiring. If that's then the one that you're wanting to insert into your data module, you can then do copy and paste that markup into your data module. The same thing if we're wanting to be able to insert a data module. With this, what we can do is we can navigate to our data module that we're interested in. We can click onto the data module, and again we'll be able to see the structure of that data module, which means that we can have a look, we can collapse and expand as we need, but we can read the information. If we're wanting to be able to see this in a more friendly environment, so as it would appear inside an IETP, we can also click on to display HTML, and what it will do is it will transform that data module into a HTML preview based on the style sheet that's associated with this schema inside your CSDB. So instead of seeing it with its markup, we can now see it with all of its structure. So again, we can see the content, but we're not necessarily seeing all the structure that makes up what is this being built by. But it gives us a friendly view. So again, we can then navigate around and click onto the different data modules until we find the appropriate data module that we're interested in. And if that's the one that we want, we can then right click and say copy, and we can paste that in as a RefDM or a DMRef, depending on the version of the spec you're working with, to go into your documentation. Inside the repository, that's how we can do a preview. I'm just going to redock my repository again. Now the other side of it is, whilst you're inside your authoring window and you're authoring your content, it looks very plain. You're not seeing any of the flow, the natural information that goes with that documentation. So there's a couple ways that we can see this. We want to be able to see the content first of all. So what we can do is we can come to our preview, and we can just dock this. And I'm just going to undock this so that we can see it as a floating window. So what it does is it will open up and display the information as it would appear based on the style sheet. So we can see here that it's an S1000D ADG style sheet, so it's not showing any of the ID status block. This is how the end user would see this content. It gives them the ability to be able to see exactly what is happening and how it's going to be presented to the user. So we're seeing that same data module. If we made any changes to the content inside the document window and we saved, it would then get reflected inside of the preview window. If we do have other schemas or style sheets that are available, we can change them on the fly, and it will then change that presentation. So I've now changed it to a standard S1000D look and feel, and you can see here that it's now changed that presentation and looks totally different to what we were seeing in our original presentation. And we can see that we've got RefDMs down here. So that's one way to be able to see that data module. So we can either see it inside the repository or in the preview. Figures, on the other hand, this is the one that we're really interested in. We want to know those figures. So we can come to our figures window. Again, we can dock this and undock it. Now what we can do with our figures is we can change our zoom, so it allows us to zoom in on any of the content. Or what we can do is we can click onto the preview icon here, and it'll split the screen. And it'll change it so that we can see what is the graphic and what is the information. If this was a CGM and there was hotspots inside, you would see the CGM information at the bottom of the screen, so you'd be able to identify all of the different hotspots that have come through. And this concludes the presentation of preview of both figures and data modules inside R4i Writer.